Well, outdoor programming has reached new heights since I first began filming with Drury Outdoors back in 1989. In fact, back then, all we filmed was videos.
The popularity of outdoor programming had not yet taken off, but still to this day, one of the biggest mistakes made while filming is forgetting to hit that record button.
In this week's episode, Giants On and Off Camera, I finally get my chance at a 7.5-year-old whitetail, and Buckman Lucas Mestad has his sights on a giant whitetail as well.
See which one is on film and which one is not. This week on Buckman.
You might know me from my early years with Drury Outdoors, both in television and video. But what you don't know is I've worked hard all my life to bring you, the viewer, giant whitetails. That's why we created Buckman. Everyday working class hunters like you taking giant whitetails year after year, and our story behind each one of those deer that taught us a lesson. That's our passion, that's our lives, and that's why we are Buckman.
Our season started out with an awesome buck on the ground. Jake shot beanpole, one of the best bucks we had coming into the fall. One was perfect to go back up after the split G2 buck, so that's where we were headed.
We're back up on one of our favorite properties, running our #1 hitless buck, the split G2 buck. Can't tell you how excited I am to get in here and on him. We have 3 years history with him, and he's looking awesome this year. He doesn't have just one split, he has both of them split now, so we're really excited. Hopefully he can come out here for us tonight. Stick with us. Well, we just saw a split G2. He might be headed our way. Oh, he's headed back in the woods.
Unfortunately though, a storm came rolling in. He left the field. We had 2 other shooters across the field too in a little clover patch that we got. But that storm came rolling in and Jake and I had to get out of there. It was just too much rain for the cameras. But unfortunately, about a week later, it was October, and a lull hit us hard this year. But we knew November was right around the corner, and we had some great bucks showing up on trail camera, so it was game on for November.
We're in one of our best run spots that we got. It's a phenomenal pinch point area. We got a bunch of woods that just kind of connect here on this little creek bottom. It was really cold this morning and really windy. We're down this bottom trying to get these deer when they're hanging out, still chasing out of this wind.
But we were seeing a lot of deer. It got to be prime time, and I saw nothing but rack out in the field, kind of checking a doe. I grunted at him, and he started coming right into the stand.
I called him right into the edge of the woods, but he didn't see what he wanted to see. And he's just out there milling around now, kind of keeping with this hot doe.
We were real excited to get back in the stand the next morning.
Real World Wildlife Products presents Buckman. Working class hunters, giant whitetails. Buckman is brought to you by Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. Matthews, catch us if you can. Vortex Optics. Double B Calls, American made, custom built, patented technology.
All right, we got in the stand extra early that morning, and at first light, we look up, we saw something running around in the field, and we had a doe come right to the base of the tree. and we were kind of focusing on her, and we heard a grunt about 70 yards away, and I look up and I see nothing but brow tines coming right to us.
Get ready, big buck, big buck.
Well, the deer came up. He was about 70 yards making a scrape. I grunted at him a few times, but I grunted behind me to see if he'd come past me to go see what was going on. Well, worked like a charm. He came right into about 40 yards. Kind of spotted something up in the tree, wasn't sure what was going on. I was at full draw, ready to take a shot. And as he was turning to walk back where he'd come from, he gave me a good broadside shot. Well, after looking at the shot, I made a very poor shot on this deer. We slowed the video down. You could see about 10 feet in front of me, I hit a twig right on the neighboring tree, and I didn't see it. I was focused on the deer about 40 yards. It's pretty early light, and just a mistake that I shouldn't have made. And we gave him 2 days to go lay down, and we never found him. We combed the hillside like you wouldn't believe and looked all day, and I was kicking myself for about 2 weeks. I was really down. I couldn't believe I had lost a deer like that. You know, I mean, that's a buck of a lifetime.
Well, what a great buck that was that Lucas hit. And unfortunately, he hit him too far back. They didn't find him. But the great news is he started showing back up on trail camera pics not too long after the hit. So Lucas is still in the game for hunting that giant buck. You know, early November to mid-November is the best time to rattle or grunt a whitetail in. And that's exactly what I did in this next hunt. Buck coming. He's a shooter, coming. Right here, right down here. That's a giant. That's a giant. He's just standing there. I think he came to the horns. He's looking for the buck. There he goes. Wow. That's the buck of a lifetime right there. He was a giant. I don't know who he is. He's a typical mainframe 6x6. I don't like to talk about scores, but that's a typical, probably at least 180. I don't know. Don't make any difference. To me, he's the biggest typical I've ever seen on this farm. The biggest actual typical whitetail I've ever seen on this farm. But a lot of times when they get to a point, they know they should see a buck fight and they don't. Especially an older buck like that. Big, old, huge monarch of a whitetail. He knew he should have saw another buck and he didn't, and that stopped him. And he didn't come any further. He circled around a little bit. I tried rattling a little bit when he circled. Didn't do any good, but the good news is he didn't smell us. He could come sneaking in later, so we're gonna get quiet. What a giant. It's Friday, November 14th. I am by myself, attempting to film myself kill a big buck. And normally we don't film each other, or film ourselves. We try to film each other. But in this instance, I lost my cameraman, Seth Healy. Oh, here comes a buck right now. I gotta get quiet. Well, that buck is making his way directly towards me, and I'm trying to figure out a spot where I need to maybe draw and shoot, but he's still kind of down in the bottom. All of a sudden, he turns and looks, and something gets his attention, and I don't know what it is. I look up and I see a doe, and then behind that doe, a buck that I know very well, a giant that I call Picket Fence Jr. I have great history with this buck. I've got him on trail camera over the years. He's probably 7.5 years old, but I've never been able to film this buck. And there he was, 50 yards away, and he's found the doe right by my tree. That was awesome. I almost got a shot. Actually, point blank range, I had him at 15 yards. Picket Fence Jr. He's a giant, big 5x5 with big, long tines. Not super wide, but big, tall, picket fence looking tines. And I had him at 15 yards. And unfortunately, the doe he was following, I tried kicking the camera around to get on him. And the doe saw me. These cameras will cost you big whitetails, but that's why we're out here, to bring you the finest for Buckman TV. Sometimes it can cost you, but that's okay. What a great buck. Wow. Movement is really slowed down. Didn't see a deer this morning. Today is Saturday, November 22nd. And the rut, of course, is just about over, but there's still some rut action. Scrapes are starting to open back up. And we're in a travel corridor right here between bed and feed. And with it warming up, I don't think they're gonna move till late, number one. Number two, I've pushed further back in closer to the bedding area. And the reason why, because it's warmed up, I don't think they're gonna get moving till late. And then we got a better chance of seeing a good buck back against the security cover, against those doe beds, than out by the feed. That's just my theory, and I hope it works tonight. We've got some giant bucks on trail camera back here. I almost got Picket Fence Jr. shot back here, back in this same travel corridor, out of a little bit different stand. Hopefully we'll get the job done. Here comes a buck across the creek. It's a good buck, shooter, coming right at me, Where? Well, after I put an arrow on Picket Fence Jr., I thought about how close I came to killing him the week before, where I got him on film. He walks right by the tree. If the doe hadn't seen me, heck, he'd have walked right by the tree without even knowing I was there. Then I thought about how fortunate I was to be able to take this buck, even though it wasn't on camera. That's why we're telling the story and showing you this whole hunt, because giant whitetails that size just don't walk by your tree every day. Unfortunately, it wasn't on film, but I got Picket Fence Jr., and I'm pumped. I'm not going to take away the fact that we didn't get the impact on film or any of it on film. It's not going to take away from the fact that I just killed my largest bow kill in my life. So we're going to celebrate. We're going to go look at him. We're going to do an interview with him. And thanks for being with us. You're watching Buckman TV. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back. And like I told you, I smoked this giant I call Picket Fence Jr. And here on Buckman TV, we take great pride in getting our kills on film, of course. But unfortunately, the cameraman forgot to press record on this gorgeous buck that I've been after for years. I call Picket Fence Jr. because he's got tines like a picket fence. And he's just an absolute giant. He's actually trying to be a 9-point. He was a 10. He's lost his G4 a little bit. He's getting to be older buck. He's probably 5.5, 6.5-year-old buck. I got all kinds of trail camera pictures of this buck over the years and got a good trail cam picture of him this year. Almost got him shot last week. I was self-filming. I spooked the doe trying to move the camera on him, tried to draw my bow on him. You'll see he bounds off. I don't get a shot at him. So I moved the whole stand, pulled it all out of that tree and moved it 20, 30 yards because those deer saw me in that tree. And that move paid off. And what also paid off was having Real World Wildlife seed on this farm. You know, at Buckman, we're everyday working people, and we do this on small pieces of ground, by permission, small leases. You can get it done, but not a huge budget. And this buck is proof right here that you can kill giants, you know, on a low budget. I hope you enjoyed the story of Picket Fence Jr. As much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Unfortunately, kill impact shot not on film. Cameraman forgot to press record, but we're telling you the story of this giant whitetail. Picket Fence Jr. has left the building, and I am one proud hunter. Well, Picket Fence Jr. was one of my largest whitetails I've ever taken with a bow. And speaking of giants, Lucas Mestad is now back after that giant that he hit earlier in the year. That buck has shown back up on trail camera pics, and now Lucas has a muzzleloader tag, so he's going back in for another round with that giant.
Well, Jake and I were headed back to the truck to go grab a bite to eat. I'd heard something kick up right by the truck, and I looked over, and it was the buck I'd hit with my bow. I couldn't believe it. I told Jake, get down. We had gotten down, we were kind of watching him. He didn't really know what was going on. And he started to just kind of walk off, and he was really favoring his leg. And I told Jake, I'm like, we can probably go grab the gun and put a stock on this deer. So we ran back to the truck, grabbed the gun, grabbed the camera, got everything ready, and put a stock on this deer. And it was probably the craziest stock I'd ever even seen. About a half mile down the stock, we'd finally gotten this deer onto a field where we could get a good clean shot at him. And I laid the smack down on him, dropped him right in his tracks, and Jake and I were just a little bit excited.
Dude, oh my gosh, we got him. I see him, buddy. Get him, buddy. Oh, dude, I'm so glad we got another shot at that buck. Oh my gosh, dude. Oh my gosh. That was the craziest hunt of my entire life. That deer's a giant.
All right, so Jake and I just caught our breath. We just put the craziest stock I've ever seen in my life on a really nice buck. And we finally got him within a muzzleloader range here. It's opening day of second season here in Minnesota. So let's go get our hands on this deer.
What is this? Oh my God. An absolute. There's another sticker here I didn't even see.
First day of gun season here in Minnesota, and checking trail cameras, he showed right back up. He was chasing doe on camera 6 days after I'd hit him. To get another chance at a deer like this is absolutely unbelievable. A deer like this doesn't come by every day, and for me to redeem myself, it's a a pretty incredible day. We had a crazy stalk we had to do to get a shot at him, but he stopped about 60 yards quartering away, and it tucked right behind his shoulder, and he dropped right in his track. So to share it with my brother Jake, this is the first deer he's filmed me shoot. It was an unbelievable experience, and it's a good way to redeem yourself, that's for sure.